This is your marketplace. When should you get your oil change?
6 months, 8,000 kilometers.
We put that to the test.
This is the used oil, this is the new oil.
You might be surprised what we find.
People have to recognize this is a sales job every time you go in to get your car fixed.
You can't afford to miss your marketplace. We're hanging out at the pumps.
How often do you get your oil changed?
Every 6 months.
To gauge what drivers know about when to get an oil change.
Can I ask you a really quick question for CBC?
Sure.
Your oil change sticker up there.
Yes.
How often do you get the oil done?
Whenever it tells me, whatever that kilometers on there, that's when I take it in.
And do you know how often that is?
It's about every 6 months.
How often do you change your oil?
Once every 3 months.
Every 5,000 kilometers.
Why?
Because that's what they recommend to do.
Who does?
The dealership.
But with oil changes costing as much as $100 a pop, is that the right advice?
Can you read something for me?
Sure.
What's that line there say?
Engine oil every year.
Change the engine oil every year.
Yeah.
How often are you doing it?
Oh, I do it every 3 months or so.
Check out most owner's manuals and you'll see more and more automakers now say you can go longer before replacing your oil.
The destination is on your left.
We want to see what dealerships, which are owned independently from the manufacturer, will recommend to us. So we choose 6 vehicles with the same instructions in their owner's manual. That is, replace the oil when the indicator light comes on. Not to exceed 12 months or 16,000 kilometers, whichever comes first. Then we pay a visit to one of each corresponding dealerships.
Hi. Good, how are you?
The service advisor at this Honda dealership gives the same recommendation as the owner's manual.
Honda recommends to go down to 15% oil left, so Honda says that or the year, whatever comes first.
Similar advice at this Acura garage.
The dashboard changes on its own, and it flags you, it sends you a message.
But at this Fiat facility,
checking it minimum every 6 months.
How about this Dodge dealership?
Do not exceed 10,000 kilometers or 6 months.
And at this Ford dealer?
Keep it 6 months, 8,000 kilometers for the safety of your engine.
Remember, the manual says as long as the indicator doesn't come on, it can go twice that.
Why would the manual be different?
Because the oil they use at the beginning, it's so pure.
So who's telling the truth? And who's taking us for a ride? Mark Winton is a licensed mechanic and former instructor in southwestern Ontario.
Oil changes. What if the dealership says, get it done every 6 months, but your owner's manual there says only every year?
The people who built the car and engineered it and assembled it, all their knowledge is in that book. And that is king. It overrides anything a dealer can tell you. In most cases today, cars have an oil change monitoring system where the car alerts the driver to the oil change requirement and when that might be. That's what you follow, nothing else. Otherwise, you're changing your oil too soon, you're polluting the environment, you're wasting your money.
So far, 3 of the 5 dealerships we visit do not even mention following that oil change monitoring system. So we head out for one last test drive with our 6th vehicle, this 2013 Jeep Wrangler. It belongs to Eric. He works for us. Just like our other 5 test vehicles, Eric's owner's manual says to change the oil when that change oil message appears, but no later than 12 months or 16,000 kilometers, whichever comes first. It's been 8 months and about 1,000 kilometers since the oil's been changed, and there's no oil change message. So what will they recommend we do at this Jeep dealership?
We recommend every 5,000 kilometers or 3 months.
Every 5,000.
That's what our recommendation.
I was looking at the owner's manual, and it was saying that you can go up to 12 months or like 16,000. So I was just wondering.
But we don't recommend it. Like
oil
the period
starts to break down after about 5,000 kilometers.
There is a difference between our recommendation and what they tell you.
But why is it, like, why would...
Chrysler is in the business of selling cars, not fixing them.
Okay.
It's a marketing ploy, in all honesty.
A marketing ploy? Time to call in science. Fluid Life in Brantford, Ontario. It's one of the largest providers of oil analysis in North America. Manager Mark Sherman first pumps out a sample to be tested. He also takes a sample of brand new, unused oil.
A little basis of comparison.
Certainly looks darker, but doesn't need to be changed.
I need some sample stickers, Mark.
The samples are then shaken, weighed, and placed in this ICP spectrometer.
What we're doing here is we're taking the sample, inserting it into the instrument, and it burns it at temperatures that are actually hotter than the sun. We're really looking at whether or not the oil looks like it is in a typical state for your engine, or whether it looks like it's in an unacceptable state.
The results should tell us whether the oil in the Jeep is still good.
Give me the upshot. What have you found?
Overall, these engine oil results look really good, actually. There was a slight amount of oil degradation, but the contamination level was nice, and the wear metals were quite low.
Do you have a sense of how much longer it could stay in that vehicle before it needs to be changed?
Well, it's always difficult to say that with a definitive answer, but I can probably tell you that this engine oil is good for probably another 3,000, 4,000 kilometers.
Is there any need to change it right now?
I would not change this oil right now. No, it looks good.
So why might some dealerships push more frequent oil changes than needed? Lucas Lung, he's got a possible answer. He's a former service advisor who's worked at 6 different dealerships.
Because they're coming in more often. Every time they walk in, it's an opportunity for us to find things on the vehicle that may be wrong.
So if you can upsell the customer to have them doing an oil change more often, and maybe they need to do it, that's your opportunity to sell them other stuff.
Correct. So every time they come more often, it is a possibility that I can recommend more.
We contact the 4 dealerships whose service advisors told us to change the oil more often than the indicator says. Dodge and Fiat say they stand by the advice given by their service advisors. Jeep's got nothing to add. But the Ford dealership confirms drivers should consult their owner's manual to determine their oil change interval.
So let's take a look at this.
Back at the gas station, we asked people to take a look at their owner's manual.
What's that say there?
However, your engine oil and filter must be changed at least once a year.
So it's every year.
Yeah, it means maybe you're doing the oil 4 times more often than you're supposed to.
Now I will go back to Honda and tell them that.
So you're going right to the dealership.
Absolutely.
Why would a dealership want you to come in to get something done more often?
For the money.
There's 50 million cars in Canada, and they all take 4 or 5 liters. So that's a lot of hazardous waste, and it's a waste of money. I mean, people have to recognize this is a sales job every time you go in to get your car fixed. There is no 2 ways about that, and I don't know how to put that any clearer than that.
Ever wonder what happens when your email lands in our inbox?
Oh, hi, I'm calling from Marketplace.
And she thinks it's an accident waiting to happen.
When you hit send, it sends us into action.
You count on us, and we count on you, and together, create change.
So help us decide what to investigate next.
Because this is your marketplace.